Honey, you're breathing oxygen. This is your time such as this. This is your moment. This is your in your hand. And we have a world that is living in darkness. We have a world with unprecedented violence and crime and pain and suffering. And we need a living church to take a living Jesus to a dying world. We need people to love their race and to finish their course. What happens if you don't? What happens if you and I become a generation of Christians that sit in a grandstand that does not exist? And I'll show you this from Scripture. And we watch Christian events and we applaud Christian artists and we come to be entertained by those that are meant to be equipping us to run our race and finish our course. What will happen? Well, what will happen is what happened in the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 10. To me, it is the saddest scripture in the Bible. The Bible tells us that when Joshua, the man that had come through, came out of Egypt, out of bondage, out of slavery, had faith for 40 years in the wilderness, only he and Caleb, out of all of the slaves that came out of Egypt, were the only ones that went in to possess the promise. They had possessed, they'd seen signs, wonders, and miracles. They'd seen the Red Sea part. They'd seen the Egyptian army drown. They'd seen manna fall from heaven. They'd seen God come up in miraculous ways. They'd seen the River Jordan pushed back. They had seen the walls of Jericho come down. They had possessed the land. And yet Scripture says, after all those mighty signs, after all of those mighty miracles, after they ran their leg of the race, the biggest and the fastest and the best, we get to the saddest point in Scripture, and dare I suggest perhaps we're right here in America. In Judges chapter 2 verse 10, Scripture says that when Joshua and his generation died, another generation arose that did not know the Lord, nor the works he had done for Israel. My question in America is this: with all of our teaching, with all of our access to resources, with all of our access to music, with more resources in the Christian church in our generation than there has ever been in the history, the 2,000-year history of the church, are we going to leave our legacy to be such that on our watch another generation arises that does not know the Lord nor the works he's done for Israel? I do not think so. I think that we are going to see a generation of Christians rise up. And I think we need to say, you know what, God, I'm not going to be a spectator watching a race that I am meant to be running in. I'll tell you how the writer to the Hebrews puts it. He says this in Hebrews chapter 12. He says, therefore then. You know why? Because Hebrews chapter 11, we call it the great hall of fame. All the greats of Christendom. And the writer to the Hebrews says, man, I don't even have enough time to write them all down here. There are so many. All the great forefathers and women of God that have done amazing things. There's a great big list. And then verse 12 says, therefore, because of all them that I've just talked about, all these heroes of the faith, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. Now I need you to catch this. Since we're surrounded, so in the heavenly grandstand, because this is the only place that a grandstand exists. We see this room set up like this, and it's kind of set up like a grandstand. And some of us think our Christianity on earth is like this. That there is a grandstand, and I'm just going to go and I'm just going to watch this thing happen, and I'll just sort of attend church once a week, and I'll just do this, and I'll just go through the religious motion, and somebody else can be the missionary, and somebody else can do this, and somebody else can do that, and boy, they're gifted at that, and I'm going to watch them, and I'm going to applaud them. And yet the writer to the Hebrews says, hang on, you've missed it. Therefore then, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, the heavenly grandstand only exists in heaven. You didn't come to earth to watch a Christian event. You came to earth to run your race and to finish your course. You came to earth